Hello, hello, and welcome to the Unit 5 Test Part 2 review. Let's get started. Number 1. Which inequality would be represented with a dashed line? Let's select all that apply. Alright, if we have a dashed line, what we're looking at is for a symbol that's just greater than and just less than. So for this problem, our answer is going to be letter B and D. Now for number 2, it's asking us for which of the graph of which inequality would be represented with a solid line. So solid lines are have symbols that have solid lines underneath them that have an or equal to, which means that's letter A and letter C. So that's how I remember it. Solid line gets a solid line. Number 3, let's write an inequality that is represented by the graph. Okay, so first I'm going to decide which way my symbol goes and what kind of symbol it is. Now for number 2, we said it's going to have a solid line. I'm going to restart that sentence so I don't feel like restarting the video. For number 2, we said that an inequality that's represented with a solid line, which is what we have here, number 3, is either greater than or less than. So I definitely know my symbol has an or equal to. Now let's decide what kind of symbol it is. The way I decide that is I put my pencil on my y-intercept and then I point an arrow straight up or straight down the y-axis to the shaded area. Now it looks like I'm going straight down, so it's less than. Okay, now let's decide on the slope. I'm going to use this point and this point. I'm going up 2, to the right 3. So my slope is 2 over 3. And my y-intercept, I think that's negative 3 minus 3. There's our inequality. Let's do the same thing for number 4. Okay, so this is a dashed line, so I know that my symbol is not going to have a line underneath it. Let's decide what kind of symbol it is, though. I'm going to put my pencil on the y-intercept, and then I'm going to point an arrow straight up or straight down the y-axis towards the shaded area. In this case, I'm going up, so y is greater than. All right, let's decide on my slope. I'm going to use these 2 points. Now notice that this is a downhill slope. That means I'm going to have a negative slope. All right, I'm going down 1, 2, to the right 1. So we can write it as negative 2 over 1x, but of course you can leave it as just a negative 2x. I like leaving the fraction, but it really doesn't matter. They're the same thing. Okay, my y-intercept looks like it's between 3 and 5, so that's 4 plus 4. Okay, that's it for number 4. Number 5, which 2 points are solutions to this graph? Okay, so there are many points to choose from. So as long as you're choosing from the shaded area, that works. So it could be, let's say, this point right here. What's that? Negative 4, 5. Or what else do I feel like? Oh, okay, so we can also be on the border of the shaded area as long as it's a solid line. For example, right here. So that's negative 2, 1. Now, I highly recommend you try finding your own points instead of just writing down the ones that I picked, because there are quite literally an infinite amount of solutions in that shaded area. And that could be any of these corners or anything on this solid line. So you've got so many options. All right, number 6, same thing. I'll pick some points because, I'm showing you how to do this, but I encourage you to try finding some of your own. Now, I feel like using this one because it looks like it's right in the middle, negative 2, negative 4. And I'm going to choose one from the solid line. That is not a perfect point. Why would I choose that? That's so silly of me. How about, oh, there, the y-intercept. 0, negative 1. That works. But literally anything within that green area, I would only use the corners, though. Otherwise, we end up with decimals, and I don't feel like, technically you could estimate the decimal and most likely be correct, but stick to the whole numbers. Try finding your own points, not just the ones I listed. On the answer key that's in person, I didn't even write some points down, but I think I should do that. I will. I just wrote that there are many points to choose from. I'll give you some examples, but again, I highly recommend you practice doing this on your own because this will be a test question. Okay, onwards we go. Number 7, which system of linear inequalities is represented by this graph? Oof, okay, so I'm going to zoom in on this graph. Let's begin with the solid line. Why? I don't know, I just feel like it. Okay, so I noticed that the solid line goes through -1 and is shaded going down, and again, it's solid. So the line with the -1 y-intercept should have a symbol that is less than or equal to. Okay, so I'm going to keep all that in mind. Then the dashed line has a y-intercept of 3, and it looks like the dashed line is shaded upwards. So the one with a positive 3 should have just a greater than symbol. Okay, so this is how I'm thinking about it. Now I'm going to look through my options. Okay, so the -1 should have a less than or equal to. -1 less than or equal to. Perfect. So I can cross off B and C. The dashed line, +3 greater than. There should only be one option. Whew, thank goodness. It's just A. All right. Number 8, same idea. I have 2 lines. I'm going to look at their y-intercepts and the way they're shaded. I'm going to start with my solid line. My solid line looks like it has a y-intercept of -3. And it's being shaded upwards. So the one with a -3 should be greater than. Oh, or equal to, obviously, because it's a solid line. The dashed line looks like it has a y-intercept of +3, and it is shaded downwards. So the one with a +3 should be less than. Okay. All right, so +3 and less than. +3, no. +3 greater than. +3 less than. +3, nope. Okay, you know what? This was quite nice because we were only left with one option. Let's just make sure the -3 has a greater than. -3, okay, perfect. Number 9, Gino wants to purchase a gym membership. He has no more than Y dollars to spend. Total Fitness charges an initial fee of $100 plus $30 a month. And Gymania charges an initial fee of $25 and then $50 a month. Let's write a system of inequalities. All right, I'm going to start with Total Fitness. So Gino has no more than, so he cannot spend more than Y dollars. So Y is greater than. Y is the biggest. He could, of course, spend all of his money if he felt like it, although probably shouldn't. But you know what? Who am I to say? Who am I to say? Okay, so Total Fitness has an initial fee of $100 plus $30 per month. Plus $30 per month, and we're using X for months. So that means 100 plus 30X. I don't know what color I used for 100, so I'm going to reuse this one. Okay. All right, Gymania. Let's see what Gymania has. 25 initial fee. Okay, but plus it's 50 a month. I don't know what I'd pick. I think I would look at what amenities there are. Because they both, you know, you're spending quite some money and quite a lot of time at the gym. So, you know, if it's just a budget thing, go for a cheaper one. But I feel like if it was me, if I was Gino, I'd probably save up the $100 and then only pay $30 a month because that would fit a budget a little better than $50. Okay. Jesus wants to play Roblox. So he asked 2 of his friends if he could let him use their Xbox. He has no more than Y dollars to spend. The first friend said he would charge him an initial fee of $5 and $2 for each day that Jesus has the console. The second friend said she would charge him an initial fee of $20, but then only 1 day for each day that Jesus wants to use the console. Let's write a system. Okay, so Jesus can only spend Y dollars. That's why it's no more than. So it's greater than or equal to, because of course he can spend all of his money if he feels like it. That's up to him. Okay, friend number 1 said he's going to charge him $5 and 2 a day, and we have X representing days. Okay, so $5 plus $2 a day. 5 plus 2x. All right, friend 2, though, says, hey, pay me $20 and then $1 a day. All right, so 20 plus, you can just do x. You can, of course, write one x that would not be incorrect. We just don't really do that much. Okay, so that is how we write inequalities from word problems. Let's continue to the last 2 of this review. Let's complete the system of linear inequalities. Now, excuse me. I noticed that here we have dashed and solid lines. So I'm going to judge this based on y-intercepts. I think that'll be the easiest thing to do. All right. The first inequality up here that I need to find a symbol for has a y-intercept of -2. There's -2. So this dashed line, that's the one we're talking about. Okay. If I put a dot on -2 and I point an arrow either straight up or straight down to the shaded area, it looks like I'm going straight up, so y is greater than. All right, let's do the next one. This one has a -4 as its y-intercept. There's the -4. I don't know, I think it's my screen. I can't tell the difference between these colors, so I'm going to go with orange. Okay, there we go. So -4 is this dashed line. Cool. All right, so we're not going to have an or equal to. I'm still going to put a point on that dashed line. It's not going to be in the y-intercept. I just want to be in that shaded area. I'm going to point an arrow straight up to go into the shaded area. So the second one is also greater than. Now, let's take a look at the next one, which has a y-intercept of 3. There it is. That's a solid line, so my inequality will have a solid line underneath it. I'm going to put a dot right there, and I'm going to point an arrow straight up or straight down towards the shaded area. Straight down, less than. We only have one line remaining. It's the X line. It goes up and down. I don't really need to look for its y-intercept because it doesn't have one. Also because it's our last line, so I guess that's kind of easier. Now, for X lines, we can't go up and down because if you watch, if I go up or down, I'm just going straight on that same X line. So that's not going to work. We're going to go either right or left. It looks here that I'm going to the left for my shading. Now, this is a solid line, so I'm definitely have a solid line in between, right? My symbol is going to have a solid line. And left is less. If you're ever unsure if left or right is less, look at the numbers. I pointed my arrow to the left, and if I look at the x-axis, the numbers are getting smaller as they go to the left, so x is less than. Lastly, we have this system. Oh, it's tiny. That's okay. All right. Let's start with the first one. It's just a y and a 15. So a y that has no slope, that is a 0 slope. That's absolutely perfectly normal, just like the x line, except our y lines are horizontal rather than vertical like our x lines are. So that means that y15 line, I'm talking about this solid line right here. And another way you can tell is the y-intercept 15. There it is. So we are talking about this solid line that is going straight across. Now it looks like we shade upwards, so y is greater than or equal to. Next we have our x line. Once again, that x line is vertical. If you're not doing it last to make sure you're finding the right line, you can always look at the x, that is 10. So here it is. I'm talking about this vertical line. Okay, now it looks like I'm shading to the right. My numbers are getting larger to the right. X is greater than or equal to. These are all solid lines. They're all or equal to's. Okay, next we have two diagonal lines left. So we do need to look at their y-intercepts. 45, 45. Okay, so we're talking about this one right here. Let's put a dot on it. It looks like I'm shading downwards, less than or equal to, because it's a solid line. We really don't have that many options left, right? Because there's only one line left over. It's the 35 line. There it is. In case you wanted to tell which one it is. Of course, you could do these out of order. You don't have to do them, top to bottom. You can leave the X line for last if you're unsure which one it is. All right, so let's see where it's shaded. Ooh, it looks like the only place I could point an arrow from is right there. And it looks like we're shading downwards from that line, less than or equal to. Okay. I feel like I went through that really fast. You might need to slow down this video if you haven't already. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Good luck studying. Ask me all the questions you need to, because you can't ask the video for questions. Yeah, you got this. Have a good rest of the day. I think I already said that. I'm just gonna go ahead and end this video. Bye!